New year, same season. Ozone, season 2. New year, same season. City stay frozen. Big apple pressure when you step in the ozone, man. Jets, Knicks, Giants, pinstripes, orange and blue. Whole city locked in, yeah, they tuned in too. Press play, turn it up, yeah, the tone stay polling. If it's New York sports, welcome to the ozone. Welcome to the ozone. Same city, New Year, same pressure, new tone. New York, boys loud, it's the ozone. Yeah, New York outside again. New Year, same season. Ozone, season 2. Let's go.
You have entered the ozone with Omar and Dave.
Let's go, baby. We're here, and you guys are officially into the ozone. It's your boy Omar here, and we're previewing the biggest game of the week, and that is Super Bowl 60 between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. We are going through it all. We're gonna talk about the road both teams had to endure to get to this moment. We're going over the players, the skill sets, the coaching. Who has the true advantage? I know all these other shows want to tell you that it's one-sided, but I think it's a little closer than what we think it is. We got a lot to talk about. The New York Knicks are on a winning streak. As I'm talking about this monologue, we are on a winning streak. I don't know by the time this airs if we are, but I hope we are. But I know, and we also got an interesting quick hits that's all over the scale. All over. We got some good stuff. We got some funny stuff. We got some controversial stuff that we all gotta cover it. And you know I can't cover it all without my co-host, the best one in the business, super producer Dave. Brother, it's a new week. How we feeling?
Cold. It's
Cold.
freaking cold. Brother, I moved specifically from New York City, New York, to get away from the cold. And apparently 3 years later, it wants to follow me, and it's record-breaking cold. It's colder than, or at least it's been colder in Orlando.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been colder in Orlando than it's been in Alaska.
Yeah.
That just says how cold it is. Yeah.
Bro, I had to put on the jacket and throw out the garbage. I'm not used to that no more. I'm like, wait a minute. How did I live in this for 28 years? Like, no, it's crazy. Hey, look, I'm all for a nice little coolness in South Florida. But winter? Like dead winter, 30s, 20s? That's not what I signed up for.
No,
that's not what I signed up for.
And I'm happy I didn't get rid of all my winter gear because apparently I've needed to use it to go to work.
Duh. Yeah. I'm upset because I cut a lot of my hoodies into like sleeveless hoodies.
I think you can make it work. Make it work.
Yeah, but wasn't working out this week. But brother, we have to talk about the Super Bowl because your guys are in it. The New England Patriots, Seattle Seahawks. We gotta really break this down. So let's get into it, y'all. This is Water Cooler Talk. All right, y'all, this is Water Cooler Talk. This is where we huddle around the water cooler. We have a sip and we talk about what's up in sports. We already know what's up in sports. It's Super Bowl 60, brother. Super Bowl Sunday, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock? Yes, it is. It's 6 o'clock.
6:30-ish, yeah.
Patriots versus the Seahawks. Brother, first of all, what's your before we get into this, I want to speak to the fan.
Yes.
What's your nervousness level at right now compared to what it's going to be on Sunday?
My nervousness level coming into it was like right here. Let's say right here, from the ground up to here. I'm here right now. Brother, the Seahawks
It's getting close.
the Seahawks are a really good team, and we're gonna go over stuff as far as when we break it down. But man, the Patriots have not looked good offensively in this playoffs, and that's something that we'll bring up as well. So that's the thing that has me like nervous. Like, can the defense get it done? Absolutely. Can the offense put up the points that we need to win this game? That's the part that I've been getting confused, or at least like my nervousness is. That's why it's here. So that's how I'm feeling right now. How about you, brother? What do you think about this game going into it?
I ain't nervous. I ain't got no dog in the fight. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this, though. I'm more nervous whether I'm going to have enough food for the people that's coming to the house on Sunday.
That's always that's a big problem.
About that. I'll say this, though. I will say this. I guess it's fun. It is fun when your team's in the Super Bowl. But that is not fun because people don't understand the nervousness you get. You really don't enjoy the Super Bowl unless your team is blowing the other team out, pause, or you find obviously at the end when your team wins. Other than that, you're nervous. You don't really want to eat. You don't want to, you don't want to talk much. You don't want to do none of that when your team is in it. You almost sometimes wish your team was getting their ass kicked or doing the ass kicking, so then you could enjoy the Super Bowl. But, brother, you did touch on something that we want to talk about. You know what? We'll start off with the Patriots. You did mention about the points. And we got to talk about the road there. How did the Patriots get there? And the Patriots, they had a phenomenal season. Obviously, as everybody that knows, they went 14-3, right? That was their record, right? 14-3. Pretty much, it was a surprise. People won, it was a surprise, I guess. You know what I mean? A lot of people had the Bills winning the division. They would then go on to beat the LA Chargers, followed by the Houston Texans, and then obviously we all know the Snow Bowl game with Denver. But brother, obviously you've touched on it. The offense hasn't been that great in the postseason. But this is what I said in the monologue. Yes, we got to go off what we've seen, and obviously we got to go off the playoff numbers. But we got to look at also what this team was able to do in the regular season. We know that this offense can light up. They ranked second in points during the season. They were third in yardage, in total yardage. They were second in yardage per average, sixth in rushing attempts, fourth in passing. Now, they were 23rd in pass attempts, but the fact is that, if you really think about it, they offensively ranked. This team is in the green, brother. So the possibility of them catching fire and Drake May going off is there. You know what I mean? Like, Drake May did go. He did throw for 31 touchdowns, eight interceptions, over 4,000 yards. So it's there. It's there. You look at, they have the running attack. Now, they don't have the named receivers, and you said this for weeks. They don't have the top billing. Yes, I guess on paper, if this was 5 years ago, you could say, yes, Stephon Diggs. But obviously, he's not the same player. But this offense does have more than a puncher's chance to really go off on this Super Bowl. And I think what also makes me confident that can happen is just look at the way Seattle's defense has played against the Rams, where yes, they had pivotal stops. They got stops when it counted, but they did give up over 300 yards to Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that going into this game, Drake May has shown that he can do it both ways. Now, that Denver game didn't come a lot of yardage. He was under 100 yards. I believe it was 83 yards or something like that he threw in that Denver game, but he's shown that he could get it done on his feet. So one of the things that he brings to this game and that the Seahawks have to be concerned about is he's versatile. He can run it and he can get 50 yards, and that's pivotal 50 yards that will probably win them the game if everything goes right. And he can also light you up. Like you said, you went over all the stats. They were, third in passing, in yards per game this year, second in points per game. Like, they can get it done. Obviously, the competition isn't as great as they have now had to face in this playoff run, but that doesn't mean they can't do it. So I think that, as long as Drake May is not making any mistakes, and that's something I think I've been going back and forth from, or at least bringing up multiple times, do not make mistakes and just keep the game in front of you and all the things that all these players. You know what? I sound like a player. You ever see the players when they do their interviews? You know, we're not making mistakes and all these different like talking points that they always say in the interviews. But this is true. They need to not make mistakes. They cannot lose the game because of stupid penalties, turnovers, just the mistakes that lose you a game, especially a big moment for most of these guys because nobody has been to a Super Bowl as a team on the Patriots right now. So this is definitely a big moment with a lot of pressure.
But what you're saying is right, though. Yeah, it sounds cliche, but it's true. You know, you look at, you know, it's important, especially to keep to stay away from the turnovers because you look at their defense. Their defense was ranked 4th in points, 8th in yardage allowed. You know, there was 6th in rushing yards allowed, 5th in rushing, like, you know what I mean? So 9th in passing yards allowed. So the defense is there. The defense is finished, is almost in the top 10, brother, in every statistical category on the defensive side of the ball. So that tells you that if Drake May is able to play a clean game, and obviously it's not only Drake May, it's the running backs, it's the wide receivers that they're not making pivotal turnovers. This defense, you know what this defense is capable of. And, you know, you see it a lot with good defenses that don't have good offenses, that the defense eventually wears down at the end because they're on the field for so long. And I think that's where this is where Drake May and this offense comes in, where use your rushing attack. You know, I had said it, I had texted you during the Broncos game. Why isn't the Patriots utilizing Drake May's legs? And they did that. They started to do that, and they started to hold the ball longer possessions, keep that Seattle offense off the field, and be able to ground and pound. And then that opens up the lanes for then Drake May to throw the bombs and do what he got to do. So I think that's got to be their game plan, brother. As you said, play clean football. Sounds cliche, but it's the truth. Play clean football. Do not turn over the ball. So then you're giving your offense an opportunity and you're giving your defense a fair opportunity where your defense is not always now having defenders short field. Because you know how good your defense is if you're giving them the whole field to defend. You know?
And brother, it doesn't always look sexy when it comes to this. Like, and when I say this, because we're about to watch a game that is probably one of the most watched of the sport or sports in general, right? Where people who are just casuals, people who just tune in because it's the Super Bowl and they just have to be somewhere, will watch the game and they'll be like, well, the offense doesn't look that great or whatever, but they're methodical, they're surgical, they're getting points, they're moving down the field. It just doesn't look great. It's not big plays, it's not a sexy run, it's none of those things. But if the Patriots can do that, that wins them the game. And I don't care if it's sexy or not sexy. I care if the team wins. I care if they're not putting themselves in harm's way to lose the game because they want to be that team. And they're going against we're going to cover the Seahawks in length too. They're going against the number 1 defense in points allowed. Like that is huge. Yeah. That is huge. So you need to get points as much as they come by. Now, if it's easy and the game's a blowout, then that's great. But the game plan is going into it. This team is hard. Points are hard to come by. So I believe that's definitely got to be the point of emphasis from a guy like Vrabel, who was a defensive player himself, a really good one, and he's definitely going to coach up that offense to like, hey, these points are important.
Yeah, and you mentioned, and that's a great segue. Let's pivot to their opponents, the Seattle Seahawks. And as you touched on, brother, their defense, they rank number 1 in points allowed. They rank 6th in yardage allowed. They rank 2nd in yardage per average. Teams only average 4.6 yards average on them. They're 3rd in rushing yards attempt. You know what I mean? So pass, they're 12th, but that's still good if you think about it. Like, they're not in the top 10, they're a little out of the top 10. But in sacks, they're 7th. You know what I mean? And they can lock down the run. Now, I will say this. They don't make a lot of mistakes. I will say that. You know, they're 8th as far as penalties. And their offense is 8th in penalties. So that tells you that they're a pretty disciplined team. They don't make, you know, some of the bonehead mistakes, although they did make one against the Rams in the conference championship game. But this offense, and this is why I highlighted New England's offense, because in the regular season, these two teams are neck and neck. We just touched on that New England was ranked second in total points. Seattle's ranked third. Just only 7 points. They finished with 483. They're eighth in total yardage. They're third in they're 10th in rushing yards, and they're ninth in passing yards. And they could protect really well. They're fifth in sacks allowed. They're ranked fifth. So this is a very good offensive line. Now, I will say this, and we'll get into it when we get into the positions. Losing Charbonnet was a big blow to this team because of how they utilize the running back situation. Now, but this is going to be a big one here for your boy. Was it Christian Gonzalez? Right, Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah,
he's got to guard arguably the best wide receiver this season, and the New England Patriots have not dealt with a threat like that in this postseason. And we're talking Smith and Jigba. Brother, what kind of issues do you think Smith and Jigba is going to give? Because you've watched your Patriots every game this season. What are the things that concern you as a fan when it comes to the Patriots defense against this highly octane offense that the Seahawks possess?
So there's two things that concern me with the Patriots defense going into this. So number one is Smith and Jigba is the clear-cut number one receiver, probably one of the best receivers to watch this year. The problem with Gonzalez is that he doesn't always match one-on-one with the number one receiver. Sometimes teams will do this, and you've seen this. Sometimes team will match up, like whether it's a speed thing or a height thing or something along those lines. It's not always a one-on-one match with Gonzo. Now, don't get me wrong. I've seen Gonzalez guard Tyreek Hill and have a great game. I've seen him go against some of the best, Jamar Chase. He's done it where I've seen him defend these guys. The thing is that Smith and Jigba is such a good route runner. So he's gonna keep him on his toes. But that's exactly how, as light as I can put it, he's gonna keep him on his toes because you don't know exactly where he's gonna go, and he's so good at some of his routes, as you can see as evidence of this year. So that is probably one of my biggest concerns. The other thing is just not taking advantage of the opportunities that come by your way. Sam Darnold, and we're going to break down the stuff, but Sam Darnold threw 14 interceptions this year. That is huge. We're praising him for the game management part of it and how good he can be, and we're happy of seeing Sam Darnold uplifted from being it's such a poverty franchise that he saw ghost with. But this is a guy who also can cost them the game, and we have brought this up many times.
That if they're unbeatable if he makes no mistakes.
So the Patriots have to take advantage of that. If the ball hits your hands, catch it. Right. You have to take those advantages when they do come.
Right. And let's get into it, brother. Let's get into the positions because obviously Sam Darnold and Drake May have had great seasons as far as individual stats go, but both can be turnover prone. Both are susceptible to interception. So let's talk about it, brother. Let's compare. Let's go over the matchups. And I guess we could just go on who we feel have the advantage. So let's start off already with the quarterback position. We got Sam Darnold and Drake May. Who are you leaning more towards an advantage for when it comes to these quarterbacks?
I'm going to lean Drake May on this one because of his dual threat. The fact that he can run, and it's not like he can run and get you like 10 yards. The guy can take off and get you 30. And that's something that you don't see from Sam Darnold. So that's why I'm going to give him the edge. You have to, if you're a defense, you have to plan for both because you don't want to be hurt by either one because you didn't prepare enough. Whereas to Sam Darnold, you kind of know he's going to be in the pocket. I'm not saying he won't get a first rush for a first down. I'm saying that he doesn't give you the same pressure of guarding him.
Yeah. I'm gonna lean more, and I like the dual threat. I think with Drake May being the threat to run, is making it's closing the gap more than what I thought it'll be. I think I am gonna rock with Drake May as well, because I was leaning more towards Darnold, but now you mentioning May's ability to run is is a key factor in this decision. I know Drake May hasn't had the greatest of postseasons right now. He's only just completed 55%, 55.8 of his passes for 533 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 turnovers in the 3 postseason games. But his ability to, I can't ignore the 10 carries for 65 yards that he had during the AFC Championship game, and obviously the big first down. So, not to say you got to guard May kind of like a Lamar, but you
Or
got
Josh
to
Allen.
or Josh Allen. But you have to acknowledge you gotta have it in the back of your mind that if you're just rushing him and you're trying to blitz, he has the ability to run out of the pocket and cause havoc. And like I said with the running back position, if you're running the ball well, then that opens up the passing lanes. So I guess we both agree on Drake May having a slight advantage over Sam Darnold. Let's get to the running back position, brother. We got the Seahawks. Obviously, this would have been a battle of 2 dual running backs. Seahawks with Kenneth Walker. Patriots or Trevion. How do you pronounce his first name? Trevion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. I would have went Seattle, I think, but Trevion Henderson is he's the future, man. He's good, this young kid. And Ramondre Stevenson, just don't fumble the ball, bro, and you're good. Like, just don't fumble the ball. I gotta go with the fact that they have 2 legit running backs. I got it. Kenneth Walker, I do like Kenneth Walker, and Kenneth Walker finished the year strong. But losing Zach Charbonnet has been tough. And like I said, he's responded well. He's responded well to the big up to the heavier load. Walker. You know what I mean? He's had 19 carries for 116 yards, 3 touchdowns in the divisional round, then 23 touches for 111 yard scrimmage, and scored in the NFC title game. He's been having big games, so he is capable of outperforming both running backs. But if we have to talk about who has the advantage in this particular position, I gotta side with the Patriots.
And I agree with you on that point. If you were doing a 1-to-1, then I think Kenneth Walker is the better running back of the 3. If it was a 1-on-1 matchup with him and Henderson, or if it was a 1-on-1 match with Stevenson, Kenneth Walker I think is the better running back of the bunch. But because the Patriots do not have to rely on just one running back, and the fact that you can have your guys rest and you can switch it out and put the different packages together, I give them that edge. I do wish that Zach Charbonnet was healthy, because I would have loved to see what that matchup looks like with the 2 dual running backs. But I'm going to side with you on that as well with the running backs.
Yep. So let's move to the wide receiver. I don't think this one will be probably up for debate. Let's look at Seattle's core: Smith-Njigba, Cooper Kupp, and Rashid Shaheed. The Patriots: Stephon Diggs, Kashawn Booty, Mac Hollins, and Demario Douglas. I think this was clear cut. I'm going Seattle. You can't like you touched on, brother, with Smith-Njigba, best wide receiver in football, led the league with 1,793 receiving yards. He had 115 yards in the touchdown in the first half of the NFC title game. He's a beast. Patriots' number 1 receiver is Diggs, but he's been quiet this postseason. He's obviously not the same Diggs as we know from Minnesota in his early days in Buffalo. So easy one for me, Seahawks.
Yeah. Diggs has had flashes of good moments, but that's not something that was consistent throughout this whole season, and including the postseason. And yes, I'm going to give all the praise, and I think we already did that with JSN, but we also have to give praise to Cooper Kupp, because this is a guy who's already won it before. This is a guy who has something to prove that he could still get it done, and he did. Last week against the Rams, like that, I think that was the big test right there. Like, playing his former team that thought he was done and he should have retired. Well, he's like, no, I still got something in me. He's not the Cooper Kupp of old, but I like when some receivers can still go get it. I like a Julian Edelman. I like a Adam Thielen. I like those kind of guys who will guarantee you get you a first down when you need them. And this is a game where, Cooper Kupp scares me. He scares me in this game.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, Cooper Kupp, his days in LA, he was the number one guy. So now, Smith and Jigba's getting the double coverage. So now you're leaving Cooper Kupp, who has, a resume that's Hall of Fame debatable, being single covered. You know what I mean? So he is capable of, and he's sure hands, man. He's capable of getting the big play. Let's move over to the tight end position. Pause. And brother, I'm gonna be honest. This one is very similar. I find with the running backs. Seahawks, they have AJ Barner, but the Patriots got a dual threat. Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper. I like Hunter Henry. I think he's very underrated. Um, you know, he's just reliable. Obviously we're past the days of Gronk and that sort of stuff, but Hunter Henry is what I'm reading it right now. That Barnes is one of the better young tight ends, but the Patriots have more depth. This is what Fox is saying, who had a combined 81 receptions, over 1,000 yards, and 9 touchdowns between Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. So, in this situation, although Barner is young, but you got to look at the depth. It's kind of like what we did with the running back position, where you're able to pick and plug, you know, from positions and not really lose much. I'm always going to give that team an advantage. It's similar to basketball. Yeah, your team could have a better starting five, but then, this team, you look at Indiana and the Knicks, it's like, okay, I'm putting our starting five over Indiana any day. But what made that series different was Indiana was able to get a bench where you didn't see much of a drop off. And I think this, New England has the depth in the running back position and in the tight end position as well.
I agree. And Hunter Henry does something that I'm one of the biggest Rob Gronkowski fans of all time. And it's not just his offensive, like, receiving capabilities, it's the fact that the man blocks. And Hunter Henry does a lot of that. He creates a difference for this team, and Hooper does as well. But I'm pointing out Henry because Henry's been there the longest. So he's actually going a little bit over 5 years, I believe. So I've seen this guy, and I've seen what he can do for this run team. When you've seen J. Stevenson taking off, look to see where Hunter Henry is, because that's a difference maker for me when it comes to these kind of teams. I do also like that Barner is young, but they also have another one. They have Arroyo, who I believe was their rookie that drafted this year, and he was also showing flashes of good stuff too. But I give the Patriots the advantage here as well, only because Hooper can light it up when needed.
Right. Yep. So let's move on to the offensive line. I think this one I got to side with Seattle. You got to just go off the numbers. Seattle ranked fifth in sacks allowed and in pressure rate allowed during the regular season, compared to 23rd and 26th for the Patriots in the same categories. Darnold's only been sacked 5 times in 2 playoff games. May's been sacked 5 times in each of New England's playoff games. So that's a little alarming. I got it. The Patriots ranked higher than the Seahawks in rushing offense was 6, and Seattle was 10. But you think about it, there's a difference where there's different kind of linemen. There's linemen that can move, and there's linemen that can block, and it's a big difference. And New England's linemen more are movers as opposed to blockers. So I'm gonna side a little. I'm gonna side here. I'm gonna give a slight edge to the Seattle Seahawks.
I am going to give it to them as well. Like I said, they were the better running team this year. And it's unfortunate that Zach Charbonnet's down, but this team protected Sam Darnold all year. And I give it to them over this in this game. Will Campbell is a great young linebacker that basically if there's the star for the Patriots line, it's Will Campbell, the rookie they had drafted right after your guy. What's his name? Last year.
Oh, Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter. So he was our pivot plan, and he's the star of the team. And as far as the linemen go, but I still give the edge to the Seahawks in this one.
Yeah. Let's move on to the defensive line, and I got you guys are good. I will say that you guys are really good, but I got to rock with the Seahawks here. I am a little biased. They got my man Leonard Williams, former Giant, but they ranked in the top 3, the defensive line. You know what I mean? There's the Seattle Seahawks is the only defense to have 4 linemen generate at least 30 pressures, according to the Next Gen Stats. No team has been able to do that. This team applies pressure, and I do highlight that the Patriots defensive line has been very good, especially in its playoffs. They've had 8.5 sacks during this playoff run, but looks like Landry might be out. Is he going to play? That I know that's something. Uh, as far as like the offensive line goes, I mean, as far as your defense goes, that's going to be tough. I don't know if he's going to play for you guys. But I got to give the slight edge to the Seahawks, brother, on this one.
I give it to the Seahawks as well because this contributes to them being the number one team in points allowed. The Patriots defense has come alive, and that's sometimes one of the good things for some teams. You see things improve as you move on in the postseason. But the Seahawks all year have been consistent, and I give it to that D line.
Yeah. So we're gonna just brush through this one because guys, there's just so much there's so much things that come in the team. So I just want to highlight this is according to Fox Sports. Uh, when you look at the other advantages, the other positions, inside linebacker position, Fox Sports is giving Seattle the slight edge, the advantage there. When it comes to the cornerback nickel that we talked about, brother, is the secondary. They're giving that advantage to the Seahawks. So that's something that hey, and I think that's more because probably the offensive threats that New England is going to have to go against as opposed to the Seahawks secondary. But I'll tell you this: just because it's an advantage doesn't mean it's not close. When it comes to the safety position, they're giving the advantage to the Patriots. And when it comes to the special teams, they're giving it to the Seahawks. At the end of the day, guys, we break this down just so you guys can get maybe a better understanding of these two teams. But I would be honest, once that ball is kicked, that means absolutely nothing. Because as we know, we've seen it before where not always the best team wins in the Super Bowl. The only, the greatest thing about the NFL playoffs is that there's no series. There's no best of seven. You have one bad game. It's lights out. So, we can talk advantages, we can discuss advantages, but it means absolutely nothing, brother, once the ball is kicked.
I agree. And you've seen where teams have basically been the better team and lost it because they just weren't prepared for the moment. Eminem said it best: "You capture, or you let it slip," and we've seen it. And this is not the same Patriots team that won, a game that was 28-3. So I won't use that as an example. But the fact is that teams have done this over the years. That all right, the better team loses. Look at the Broncos and how they performed in that one year, or the Panthers where Cam Newton lit it up that year. But in that one game, he played the worst that he's ever played, and he never looked back from there. So you have to be on your P's and Q's in that game. You can't make the mental mistakes. You can't do the physical mistakes. You have to be on point. And you also have to realize that this is not just a you game. This is a team game. And there's a lot of I forgot the word that you said earlier. There's a lot of cliches with the things that I'm saying in sports cliches. But the fact of the matter is, they
hold
cliches
up
for a reason. They still hold up.
Yeah.
So I think either team, they just have to play their best game, and that's it. That's the way you win. Or you capitalize on the mistakes because you didn't have your best game, but you made the proper adjustments as you went along.
No, 100%. Brother, let's do it. Let's make the final score prediction. I'm going to give you the honors. It's your team.
Final score 24-21 Patriots.
So 3-point game. I got a little higher. I got it 31-27 Seattle. This is, brother, we're going to put some food on this. Brother Dave's coming to the crib for the Super Bowl. I'm going to make sure your lovely wife she's going to be just as nervous as you, so I might
We don't eat.
have to do it myself. I was going to say, I might have to set some food for y'all on the side so then y'all can eat once the game is over. And I was going to say I would have your lovely wife do it, but she's going to be just as nervous as you. So I'll make sure y'all.
You've seen us. We don't eat during these Patriot games in the Super Bowl. So.
No. Look, man, not to give you bad memories, but you saw it. The Giants' second year against Patriots. I didn't eat till after the game was over. Didn't eat, and we had food. We had pizza, wings, everything. Dave's classic dog food, everything, and couldn't eat. That's why I said, like, it kind of sucks when your team it's a good and bad thing, but it also is a good and bad thing when your team's not in it. But that's a good problem to have, that you don't eat because your team's in the Super Bowl. Where me, you get to enjoy it a little bit more. You just whatever, like, you know what I mean. Your team's
The
not
best thing I could probably do, or the advice I would give for anybody who is a fan going into this game and watching, I would say eat right before the game, because after that,
yeah. And speaking of eating, let's not I feel like we have to do this every year, but it needs to be said because there's
let's go for it.
who commit these crimes. If you're what do you call this? I'm trying to think of the right word. If you're a picky eater, if you're particular with what you eat, aka vegan, do not force your cauliflower, buffalo, whatever onto people. You can say, hey, I made this dish. Feel free. You guys are more than welcome. But that's it. And yeah, like just that's it. And don't calorie count, people. This is Super Bowl is Thanksgiving. Nobody wants to hear about, oh my God, I don't eat like this. Oh, I have to go work out tomorrow. Nobody cares. Sunday is for swallowing wings, pause, everything. Eat everything. Pizza, wings, whatever you're into. Burgers, sliders. I know we're going to have a full menu here, brother. We're going to have a full menu here.
Yeah, we don't want to hear the. I'm trying to think of a name of someone we don't know, but we don't want to hear the Karen. We don't know a Karen like that. We don't want the Karens coming in and talking about, well, I've been on a diet ever since I started the year. Yeah, Karen, we saw your plate on Christmas Day, and we saw pernil on top of pernil.
We saw your plate last Saturday. How about that?
So I don't want to hear about your diet and how well you're doing. This is the last day I want to hear about it. And like Omar said, don't force your opinions on us as far as what you're eating or what you offered. And don't be offended if nobody wants your cauliflower buffalo dip.
Yeah, if your food is still there and everything is gone.
More for you. More for you this week.
Don't run it back.
You got a snack for the rest of the week.
Yeah,
there you go.
Don't run it back. Favorite Super Bowl dish, brother?
Brother, it is my dog food. It is a dish that I've been making since I first came over to your house. It was the first Patriots Giants matchup. I've been making it ever since. That was 2008. We are in 2006. So we're about to make 20 years of me making that dish for every Super Bowl. Man, so, and if anybody needs to know, yes, we call it the dog food because it's ground beef with a bunch of stuff in there. But it looks like dog food if you leave it out for a little bit. It looks like dog
food, but it doesn't taste like dog food.
Get you some chips, or if you want to, like,
it wouldn't pass a chop contest because it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing, but taste wise.
But you can eat it however you want to. If you want to have it with your wings, I've seen people put it on their pizza.
If Guy Fieri says, and I take that line, you could put that thing on a flip flop, bro.
I've seen people do it so many ways, brother. What is your favorite dish outside of my dog food?
Man, I would say, man, you can never go wrong with wings, man. But I'm a pizza guy. I'm a pizza guy when it comes to football. I love a good pepperoni slice, so I'm not mad at that. Wings and pizza, but if I had to pick one outside of the dog food, because I don't want to be redundant, I gotta go with a slice of pizza, man. I gotta go with a pepperoni slice. But brother, let's transition. Hopefully everybody enjoys the Super Bowl. Guys, let us know in the comments below who do you think is gonna win. Who do you think, if you disagree with us on who do you think the advantages is going to, let us know in the comments below. And remember, guys, to give a like, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't to the show, guys. But we are gonna move on. We're gonna pivot to some NBA talk because our New York Knicks are rolling. As of this recording, they've just won their 6th straight game over the Los Angeles Lakers. And as of when this episode airs, they would already play Washington, and they will be playing the Denver Nuggets tonight. So super duper producer Dave and I are gonna be covering it right now. So this is This Week in Knicks.
This Week in Knicks.
All right, y'all, this is This Week in Knicks. This is where we cover our New York Knickerbockers. And brother, this is the first episode in quite some time that we've been able to talk really good about the Knicks. And that's because the Knicks are coming off a 6-game winning streak. Obviously, their last win, as I touched on before we started this segment, as of this recording, was against the Los Angeles Lakers, where I felt the Knicks had, this was to me one of the most impressive games that I've seen during the winning streak. Only because this was a game where you didn't see great shooting performances from Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges. However, this Knicks team was able to have a balanced attack, whether that be from a strong game from OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns being able to rebound the ball, Josh Hart shooting efficient from three, having a big game, Landry Shamet. They got so many contributions from other players that this was a well balanced game for them. And the thing to highlight about the Knicks would have to be their defense. The last six during the 6 game winning streak, brother.
Brother, and it's one of those things that like the Knicks needed to do something. We spoke about this for weeks at length because apparently we didn't have a good January. Let's just say that we didn't have a good January for the Knicks, but things had to be tweaked, and we know that Jalen Brunson held the captain-led only, a players-only meeting, and things started to look right ever since. And one of the things that I noted, besides the fact that they had a huge surge in that third quarter against the Lakers, yes, as of this recording, as of yesterday, is just making it count when it needs to. This team has fewer points allowed. They're moving the ball better. They had unselfish play. There was 30 assists in that last game. This is a team.
Had 13 of them. Yeah.
So this is a team that we know can get it done. The problem is it hasn't been consistent, and I like the adjustments that have been made by Mike Brown. Maybe some guys aren't happy with being on the bench, but guess what? What matters more, and this is what makes everybody happy when it comes to sports, especially when team sports, winning gets rid of all those issues. All those issues go out the door the second you start winning.
100%. And you said it, like we talked about it. Mike Brown has shortened the rotation. You're not seeing Jordan Clarkson. You didn't see Yabusele in the Laker game. You saw obviously with Deuce being out with the ankle, he's missed 4 of the games of the 6 game winning streak, and it's already been announced that he was going to miss Washington. I'm not sure if he's going to miss tonight's game against Denver, but we shall see. But you look at the rotation being shorter. We're no longer seeing Clarkson in it. We're barely seeing Yabusele. Who knows if Yabu might have played his last game, because we do know that the trade deadline is Thursday. But yeah, you're looking at it. You're hearing that Mike Brown made some slight changes to the defense that I guess is a lot. It's a lot more simplified. And they're obviously there's been reports that players are no longer pointing the fingers at each other, and I think that's something that maybe they all had to look in the mirror. Obviously, we gotta highlight what Mikal Bridges said in his post game interview when they beat Toronto, brother. We were recording the Royal Rumble preview show, so obviously we didn't get to see it live, but looking back at the replay, you look at Mikal Bridges that said, I was uncoachable. I had to become more coachable. So you wonder how much that was going on, not just with Bridges, but with other players. And it just looks like now everybody's pulling the same rope, where in the beginning of January, it didn't look like that. So, and we said it, brother. We said it a few weeks ago. We would much rather have the Knicks go through these pains right now, early in the season, still where it's still early in the season where you can get hot again. And it looks like they've done that. They've taken advantage of when they've had lesser opponents. They've abused them. You saw what they've done to Brooklyn. You saw what they've done to Portland. But then you see them against teams with winning records, how they're able to keep that high level of play and have that composure to end out games like they did in Philly, to be able to put away the Lakers when the Lakers started missing shots, being able to put them away. So you're getting it on both sides. You can't just say, okay, this winning streak is just the Knicks beating up on lesser teams. No, the Knicks also have been able to accomplish things and play efficient and play well against teams with winning record, brother.
Yeah, and I mean the good thing is that all right, the Knicks went through struggles, and It's funny, brother. It's funny that these are the years that now we consider these are our struggles, right? We've seen
Yeah,
horrible,
we've
horrible
come a
Knicks
long
teams.
way. We've come
Yeah,
a long
so
way.
we had a bad January, like I've mentioned before, and the fact is that now we're on a 6 game win streak after seeing some horrible play, and now like everything's kumbaya. Everything looks better. There's the trade rumors died down. Um, this team is still 31-18 at the time of this recording. That is their record. So even with the horrible January that we're still way above 500. This team can get it done. This team is winning against, like you said, get fat when you can. This is something you've always said, and I forgot where you got the quote from, but the fact is I'm going to keep using it. Like Omar made this quote up. But the fact of the
No,
matter
look,
is,
because it's this thing like get fat. I don't know where I heard it from, but it was not like it's from some. It wasn't like from Aristotle or nobody like that.
but get fat where you can. And at the end of the day, like you win those games, that helps the team morale. And then guess what? That big opponent comes in, you beat them too. The Lakers, they're a winning record team. Yes, they're 6th in the Western Conference, but I don't care.
But that's just a product of the Western Conference.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just a tough conference.
So I'm happy.
You know?
I'm happy with everything
No,
going
100%.
on.
And Knicks fans should be. Knicks fans should be because, also during that, we also knew that wasn't the Knicks, brother, because in the midst of that losing streak, the Knicks did lose to some pretty bad teams. They lost to Sacramento. They lost to Atlanta. They had teams that are lesser than them that they lost to. So the fact that they were able to get wins against Philadelphia, Toronto, LA, Portland. Portland's a team that people look at Portland like now they're going through their rough little slide now, but Portland was a team over 500 before their now 5-game losing streak. So this was a team, so the Knicks didn't play a bunch of bologna sandwiches at this point either. So I think that's something to highlight. But brother, this week is going to be tough. This is going to be a tough week because as we touched on, they will have Washington. They've already played Washington by this airs, and I'm hoping that's a win. I can't promise you nothing now, but the way this team has been playing, I'm going to bet that this is a win, brother. I know I did this before, and I said I wasn't going to do it again. But the way we're playing, I can't see why this can't be a win. Then we have
a Trae Young led team, by the way. A Trae Young led
Trae Young's
Wizards.
not playing. So
there we go.
Yeah, Trae Young's not playing. They're in Operation Tank mode, brother. Trae Young, all of a sudden, now has MCL issues and whatever LCLs, whatever you want to talk about. They do not want to relinquish their top 8 protected pick to the Knicks. Although they have won some games, Washington, you can tell that they're in Operation Tank mode. They don't even want to play. Wednesday tonight, Denver. This is a tough matchup. This is going to be a tough matchup. Obviously, obviously you got the return of Joker. Joker's back, but they're out some key players. They're out Aaron Gordon. Cam Johnson is out. Christian Braun remains out. So this team could be had. And then the Knicks have played Denver really well these last couple years. So I feel confident about that. Then you have Friday, brother, the big game against Detroit. That's gonna be a tough one, man. Detroit kicked our ass first time we played them. We lost by 31 points. So that's gonna be a big game, and Detroit is gonna be on. They're gonna be on fire for that one. Then you have Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, February 8th against Boston at 12:30, and that's a game that's gonna be big too. And I want to get back because we did lose to our last meeting with Boston at Boston, so it's a tough week for the Knicks. But the Knicks are riding high, and there's no reason why the Knicks can't continue this winning streak. But brother, before we get into quick hits, the trade deadline is tomorrow. Obviously, you're hearing Giannis, and we got some Giannis news in quick hits that we're going to discuss. I think we both agreed last week that we don't think the Giannis thing is going to happen. But what's a realistic player or move that you feel that the Knicks can make that you wouldn't mind seeing in the blue and orange?
So the one that I've been seeing that I wouldn't mind at all is bringing in Sadiq Bey. Now, I don't know how you get Sadiq Bey, but Yabusele is available. Take Clarkson if you want him to. As long as you don't got that starting 5. and keep Josh Hart. I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you stole my answer, bro.
Oh
Stole my
man.
answer. Yeah, because obviously we talked about. I think I said it last. I think I had said it last week that I had one Alvarado and Missy from New Orleans, but I don't know if that's possible.
New Orleans is greedy. They're being really
New
greedy, by
Orleans
the
is
way.
very greedy. New Orleans is very greedy. You know, you look at deals and Alvarado, team that's going to need a backup point guard is, you know, the Knicks are not going to be the only team in the hunt for him. You look at, you look at Cleveland. Cleveland took out 2 potential backup point guards from the market when they made the trade for DeAndre Hunter, sending DeAndre Hunter to Sacramento for Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. So there's going to be teams that's going to want Alvarado. There's teams that want Sadiq Bey. I think, I was going to say Sadiq Bey because I feel like Sadiq Bey will be a lesser version of Najee Marshall. And Najee Marshall's been playing so well, he would be the one that I would really want. But you're hearing that Dallas wants a first-round pick. I'm not willing to give up a first-round pick for Najee Marshall. I know the rumors is what's hurting the Knicks right now is Yabusele's player option. Guys, teams are reluctant to take Yabusele because, yes, he doesn't get paid that much. He gets paid slightly under $6 million, so he can match up with those kind of guys. However, teams don't want to touch the player option from him. Teams are not willing, from what you're hearing from a lot of beat writers, they're not comfortable with taking that. So Leon Rose is going to have a challenge, but I think Leon Rose, as we said weeks before, Leon Rose is always able to make the deal that's not being talked about. So let's see. As we touched on last week, guys, it's important to follow us because for anything that pops up with the Knicks at this trade deadline, here at the Ozone, we got you covered. This is why it's important to follow us on our social media platforms, which is Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Reddit. Help me out, brother. What did I miss? TikTok.
Yep.
Yeah, and TikTok. So it's very important that you follow us on that. And then obviously, like we said, if something catastrophic were to happen, Dave and I, we might have to do an episode, but I doubt it. I don't think any of the starting 5 gets traded. I don't think so. I just don't think so. I think that's why guys are playing comfortable too. I don't know. Like I feel like Leon said, look, guys, we're not moving y'all. You know what I mean? And we're disregarding that. Once the deadline happens, I don't know if there was a clip that played where it was when the Knicks played Portland, Drew Holiday walked by like Mikal Bridges, and I'm paraphrasing. He says something. He's like, "Oh man, worst time of the year," because these guys, it's in their mind. These guys are reading the same post we are reading about. The difference is it's their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys have this sense of relief when the trade deadline's over. They know at least I'm here for the remaining part of the season. So it's, I think even guys like Cat and Mikal are going to play even better because they know, hey, look, we're here. We're here for the stretch run. So we know what we got to do.
Yeah, it's different when you when you're used to getting.
Get the final word.
It's different when you're getting pizza down the block from the Madison Square Garden, and then you got to go to Portland, and Portland has good food. I hear Portland has good food, but it's Portland. So
what is Portland, dog? We're complaining about our weather. Imagine Portland. That's 300 days a year, maybe.
No,
I know Portland has
you.
beautiful summers, from what I heard. Beautiful summers.
Beautiful. That whole area is beautiful. It's just cold.
Let's not act like Portland is not in the top percentile in seasonal depression. It's tough. Not everybody wants to play that, but Dame Lillard. But brother, we have some topics to discuss. It's been a busy week in sports, so let's get into it, y'all. This is Quick Hits. All right, y'all. This is Quick Hits. This is where we cover everything around the globe. The hits come at you so quick, you don't see it coming. Brother, we're kicking off Quick Hits with some Super Bowl news as Fanatics has been catching heat over their highly priced $160 Super Bowl jerseys, with fans criticizing the quality and lack of detail, especially for the high price. Brother, I don't know if you've seen the jerseys. Have you seen the jerseys? And if so, what's your overall thoughts on this situation?
Brother, $160 for a jersey with just the patch. And then, mind you, these aren't just like, and some of them are just the jerseys that are like different colors that don't like match the scheme or whatever they're wearing that day.
Yeah.
I'm very big on paying for a jersey that the team will never wear on the field. I will never do that. And that price, just because it's a Super Bowl jersey, I'm not doing that either. But I'm not a fan of this at all. But then again, this is Fanatics, and Fanatics is the king of everything when it comes to sports merch at this point. And I mean, what other choice do you have at this point, right?
Yeah, and Dave has the images. You look at it, like he said, there's just a Super Bowl patch that's just kind of just glued onto the jerseys. Some of them are not even proportioned correctly. And then the complaint is that a lot of it's just the basic jerseys. It's like for the Seahawks right now, it's just the white ones. There's no blue ones, and they don't have options. And even Fanatics came out with a tweet basically saying that they're hearing people's complaints, and that they're sorry, but it's been a challenge with the massive surge in demand and all of this stuff. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not miss me with that.
I don't want to hear that crap.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that either. They've monopolized the sports merchandise business. They make these bland ass hats. Obviously, they got knocked. Everybody remembers the OKC championship hats. It was basically a black fitted with a very small logo that said champions. They're very uniform. They're very generic. There's no there's no identity of the team. Back in the day, the championship shirts always reflected the colors of the team, or the team's identity for that particular season. You no longer see that with Fanatics. This is why you have a lot. This is for example, this is a replica hockey jersey made by Reebok. And brother, I don't know if you can tell, this is stitched. This is stitched, by the way, and this is a replica. This is not the authentic. This is what we consider the swingman of hockey jerseys. But this is Reebok. This is well before Fanatics took over. And Fanatics now, try buying Fanatics replica style hockey jerseys. It's screen printed. It's not even stitched. So obviously the quality is horrific. And I know Nike. What people don't know is that yes, Nike makes the jerseys, but it's really Fanatics that manufactures the jerseys. Nike are only making the jerseys for the actual teams. Fanatics is who manufactures most of the jerseys, which is MLB, pretty much all the major North American sports. And they're doing a horrible job at it, brother.
Yeah, and Nike does make great jerseys. My Hightower jersey, which I'll be wearing to the Super Bowl, you're gonna see the quality of that and what you're gonna see with these jerseys that you're getting from Fanatics, brother. The other part, and real quick before we move on, what's the worst part about these two screenshots that you provided? These are not even the jerseys that they're gonna wear. They're swapped.
No.
Patriots are wearing all white.
Yeah.
The Seahawks are wearing all that. So I'm paying $160 for a jersey that they're not even wearing with the wrong.
And you're not even gonna be able to get it in time. Even if you did order it. Well, brother, they made that mistake in the World Series that they ended up giving me free merch. So
yeah. All right, staying with the Super Bowl, let's reports indicate that there will be no trailers for Avengers, Doomsday, or Spider-Man: Brand New Day. If true, is this a strategic move by Disney or a missed opportunity?
Definitely. It's a strategic move. Right now, what they said that the Super Bowl ads are going for, reportedly ads in Super Bowl are going for $7 to $10 million for 30 seconds. Look, I'm gonna be honest. You don't got to do that for Avengers and Spider-Man. You don't. You could drop it on You could drop it right now, and it'll get the same amount of buzz as it would if it's in the Super Bowl. So now, if you're trying to, I would say, premiere like a movie for a character that maybe people are not familiar with, then I would have said I think this is a missed opportunity. However, Disney knows they could throw right now a freaking 10-second teaser that the trailer's going to come out the next day, and it's going to have the same effect. So I think it's a strategic move as opposed to a missed opportunity. What about you, brother?
I agree, brother. Brother, they literally can drop it right before the game, and they can say,
Yeah.
"Hey, this will drop right before the halftime show." They can do whatever they want. Now, yes, you brought up a good point where they can use it for like lesser characters, and this is not so much Disney, but um, Warner Brothers with Supergirl. Supergirl is everybody knows Superman. Not everybody knows Supergirl. Nobody knows the villains Lobo like that, unless you're a comic fan or DC Universe, the animated
Yeah.
movies. So unless you're very versed in those characters, you won't know what the hell is going on and who the hell Supergirl is. They just thought they made up a character. So this is the time that you would drop the 7 to 10 million so people can be familiar with your product. Marvel is way too far in the game for that kind of thing with these two movies. So they don't have to do this. This is actually a strategic move by them.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go to a little bit a more recent controversial topic when it comes to football. The New York Giants chairman and co-owner Steve Tisch has been linked to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Reports allege that Steve Tisch received scouting reports on women from Epstein, discussed whether women were pro or civilian or working girls. And that emails exist between Epstein and the women describing encounters with Tisch. The NFL has stated that it is aware of the allegation and is reviewing the matter to understand the facts. How should the Giants organization respond moving forward, brother, in light of these reports?
So we live in a world where cancel culture is huge, right? And overreaction is also huge. And this is not any of this is just putting that out there. This is putting context into what I'm about to say. The Giants should do the right thing and remove Tisch from anything associated right now. Now, it sucks if he had nothing to do with this, if this is not, if these are baseless claims, if there's no actual factual evidence. But the fact is that you're included in these emails that was released by the Department of Justice. So if the Giants were to do the right thing, it would be in the move of getting rid of Tisch, anything associated with the Giants. As of right now, do it as soon as you can. You can see that in the release of all this news also, brother, and I want to bring it up before I hand it over to you, Russell Wilson was also mentioned in this, and he's currently a Giants quarterback who's still signed with the Giants. The first thing he did was like, hey, that was me inquiring through someone else about a plane. Nothing to do about a jet. Nothing to do with me actually being on that island or anything like that. We're not doing that, not today. So I think the Giants need to do that right away with Tisch. Like, hey, those were his actions. He has nothing to do with the franchise, brother. What do you think? This is your team.
No, I think it's the same thing. I think the Giants, you gotta. This is a very sensitive topic, as it should be. I'm not trying to minimize it. This is something that, depending on the political aisle you on, some people want it out. Some people are trying to brush this away, which I think is not what we should be doing. Now, obviously, look, like you said, in this culture of cancel culture, sometimes it can backfire on you, as we saw with like the James Gunn. But with this situation, I guess you have to do your due diligence and investigate. But if I was the Giants, I'm wiping my hands clean with this immediately. I don't even want to touch this. This is not even, and I apologize for those. I am not trying to compare James Gunn's tweet back in the day to this. This is whole next level and I wouldn't want no parts of this, like none. So if I'm John Mara, I'm the rest of the Mara family, and I know they have some new ownership that's in as well. I don't think they're gonna want any of this touching the Giants. So I think it's best to, I don't know if you can buy out Tisch, find a way to buy him out, but he needs to no longer be connected to the New York Giants, and I'll leave it at that.
Brother, according to Ken Rosenthal, we're going to move over to baseball. So MLB and the MLBPA are lobbying the World Baseball Classic insurers to reverse decisions that left several top Puerto Rican players uninsured, with Puerto Rico reportedly considering withdrawal if no changes are made. What are your thoughts on this situation, how it should be handled?
This is crazy because you're hearing that Puerto Rico might withdraw if they can't get their guys insured, and it really seems like if Lindor can't get insured. It seems like there's going to be a unification amongst the Puerto Ricans that, hey, we're not going to play. And obviously, as a Puerto Rican, I would not want to see that. Obviously, Puerto Rico has always performed well in the World Baseball Classic, having making the finals of making the championship appearances. I believe been 3 times making a quarterfinal appearance. So it would suck, but it's insane, man. I wonder has if this is the ripple effect of the Edwin Diaz injury that took place in the last WBC where he tore his ACL and missed the entire Met season. And I just want to highlight this, brother. There's more than just the Puerto Rican players that have been denied health insurance. Obviously, you have Francisco Lindor, Carlos Correa, Barrios as the big names, but you also have Venezuela. Jose Altuve is to name a few. Wilson Contreras. So you have a couple players from Panama. You have Ellie De La Cruz from DR. So these players are all being denied health insurance, and I hope it can get resolved because I would hate to see one players teams not be at their full strength because their top players can't play, or this tournament not run as fluid because now you're gonna have countries pull out.
Yeah, and I don't know. This is a hard place to be put in, and I think what the biggest suggestion I can put for this is to maybe change the time of when these games are played. I think having these games being played right before the season start is definitely scares off teams because then you have somebody, if they get injured, well, they're out for who knows how long, but they're not starting your season with you. So I think that's the biggest concern for most MLB teams. I think if you were to have this right after, let's say, the World Series takes place, well, maybe that's a better fit for some guys because you still have some time in between until the season starts. Um, it does hurt, and I would hate to see Puerto Rico withdraw from this. Obviously, as a Puerto Rican yourself as well, we would hate to see this happen. But I get why teams are doing this. That's their money. That's their investment. These are their players. So I get it. I get there's an investment in there, and it's a business. So I get why teams are doing it. Maybe something has to change where the timeline is different. When the games are played.
No, yeah, I agree. Let's move on to basketball, brother. This is big. We talked about the Giannis, but Brett Siegel of Clutch Points reports that the Milwaukee Bucks, obviously they have major suitors, but the Milwaukee Bucks are seeking Tyler Herro and Miami's young core in any potential Giannis deal. Obviously, multiple teams are expected to pursue him. But brother, should the Miami Heat go all in to make everyone? Should they go all in and making everyone available to land Giannis?
The Miami Heat. What a fall off that team has had in this past year or two.
Yeah.
This is a team that since Jimmy Butler has left has not been the same. And
No.
at this point, if you want to rebuild, I think now is the time to just get rid of the pieces. Tyler Herro is not as great as people make him seem to be. These other players that are on that team, you can get rid of them. I'm okay if you got rid of a Bam. I'm okay if you got rid of any other player that's on the Miami team. Like, this is not a team that's worth like keeping the core together. So if you are the Miami Heat, I would say make whatever adjustments you have to make to get Giannis. This is my feelings towards this whole thing, and this is why I'm happy that the Knicks are not withdrawing. The guy's still available in the offseason. So unless you really are scared that some other team that this is your guy, this is the guy you want to build your whole franchise around, unless you're guaranteed that this is the guy, you can just wait until the summer.
Yeah.
We've already seen where teams have done it. They've done it with a Carmelo Anthony who didn't want to wait till the summer so he can get signed with the Knicks, and we ended up gutting our team and losing really good players because of that.
Well, he's not. Let's preface this, brother. He's not a free agent in the summer, though. He's not a free agent this summer. He could get traded.
Sorry,
I think
he could get traded. That's what I meant to say.
And I think Milwaukee will have more options if they wait in the offseason.
Yeah, so this is I only pull the trigger if you feel like another team is, threatens that. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah. No, look, I agree. I think Miami should go all in. Obviously, being here in Miami, you have some play, and I get it. Knick fans are like that. Knick fans might be reluctant to add, like we said, like a Deuce McBride and that sort of thing. But as if I told a good friend of mine that is a Miami Heat fan, are you gonna let a Jaime Jaquez be the roadblock as to why you don't get Giannis? I'm sorry, Jaime Jaquez is good, yeah, but he's replaceable. You can find another Jaime Jaquez. And you're hearing that they want the bag. They want everybody. They want Tyler Herro. They want Khalil Ware. I don't think they want Bam. I don't think they want those guys. I don't think Miami will give them up. But they want everybody else. They want the kid that they drafted a year ago. They want Khalil Ware. They want Jaime Jaquez. They want Tyler Herro. They want basically any young player from Miami along with the multiple boatload of picks. But I do think that if Milwaukee waits in the offseason, you have teams like the Knicks now that can trade two more first rounders. You have teams like the Lakers that can, because once the season's over, I believe you're able to trade your 2031 first round pick and pick swap the following. So now teams that are a little strapped with first round picks can now give you more and probably better talent, or you can actually get better picks from other teams because now teams like the Knicks, let's say for instance, if they want to continue to pursue Giannis, now they have a little bit more time to include a third team or a fourth team because you're hearing now that Minnesota is testing the waters with the with Nas Reed and Julius Randle, but they also would need a third or fourth team to help facilitate this trade. So I think in best, because I'm gonna be honest, any team that gets Giannis now is not gonna win. Not this year. Giannis is coming off this calf strain. He's gonna be reevaluated in 6 weeks. Yes, that's still enough time to get to the playoffs, but are you willing to rev up that where you take the chance of something worse happening, a la an Achilles, which will take you out for the whole year? So I don't know. But if I'm Miami, to answer this question, yes, I'm going all in. Do what you got to do.
Brother, let's stay with basketball.
This is your question, right? All right, yeah.
Yep. Let's stay with basketball. So the NBA All-Star reserves are all both set for the East and West. Which players were the biggest snub for each conference for you?
Easy for me. Obviously, Western Conference is Kawhi Leonard. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't understand why LeBron made it, and I'm not trying to be a LeBron hater, but at the end of the day, this is not a charity case. Kawhi Leonard's numbers is not even comparable to LeBron's. You can't compare the two. Kawhi Leonard has played exceptionally well this season. He's been healthy for the most part this season. He deserved to get in. And I'll be honest, I think when it comes to the Eastern Conference, although Pascal Siakam has had a good individual season, bro, your team got 13 wins. Why? You know what I mean? There's no way you in an All-Star game, bro. I thought, this is going to be an unpopular pick, especially for New Yorkers, but shoot, Embiid should have got it before Pascal Siakam. You know what I mean? So I would say those are probably the biggest snubs for me would be Leonard and maybe Joel Embiid. But how about you, brother?
So you already said Kawhi, which was going to be my pick, but I think the second best, as far as second best, the second biggest snub for the West would have to be James Harden because he's playing just as good as well this year.
Yeah.
He's having the 25.4 point season, 8.1 assists, 4.8 boards per contest. He's having a great season, and these are guys who are still performing and contributing to the team. Whereas to LeBron, he's kind of got his foot off the gas in there. He's hoping, I guess, to ramp it up once they get to playoff time, but that doesn't mean that he should get the vote into there. As far as the East goes, I got Brandon Ingram. This guy is just playing a really good season for the East. And Toronto right now is right now Toronto's fourth in the East right now, so they're having a really good season. Scotty Barnes made the cut, so I don't understand how Brandon Ingram did it.
All right, I think Roman Reigns picked CM Punk for the main event.
Did he right now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm gonna
rewatch
it once we're done, but yeah. But brother, over the weekend, let's pivot to boxing. We're almost done. Over the weekend, Shakur Stevenson beat Teofimo in a one-sided masterclass. But the biggest story of this event was not that fight. It was the moment Jarrell Miller had his hair punched off in the middle of the fight. Brother, I know on our notes, I had put the question, who is to blame, Miller or the barber? But if I added the real question, I wouldn't have got this reaction from you. that's not the question. The question is, brother, would you ever get a tooth haircut? Which means Dave will grow the hair on the side of his head and get a piece to mask it all in. Would you ever get that done, brother?
Never, brother. Okay. I'm gonna put out a disclaimer out there for everyone. I can grow hair, right? And everybody says that. Every bald man says that. I can grow hair. The problem is my hair was thinning, and haircuts are expensive these days. And I found that I look better as a bald man. There's no way you would see me with the George Jefferson ever, even if it was to have a toupee up here. There's no way. I'm not rocking the Hulk Hogan. I'm not doing it. No effing way. I am a huge fan of, if you gotta let it go, let it go. And fortunately for me, I look good bald. So
let it go.
What about you, brother? You fortunate to not see the thinning yet. So you ever
I'm
pull it off?
I'm good. I'm just getting the gray hairs, but I'm good. I don't. If I haven't lost it now, I don't think I'll lose it ever. So I'm grateful with that. But homeboys is I wouldn't have done that. You got a fight going on, bro. I'm not taking no chances. Like, and the crazy part, he went on Breakfast Club and said he paid $700 for that haircut.
I blame him. I still blame him because you went. What made you think that I'm gonna go into a boxing match and then somebody said he got his muffin cap peeled back blue? That was probably one of the funniest things I read.
The barber deleted. I guess the barber, is trying to be social media. The barber deleted, I guess, his haircut.
Brother, there's no way that I would ever consider going out in a fight with a toupee. You're fighting, somebody's punching your head, and then you're sweating on top of that.
Right. And supposedly them glues are supposed to be good, but I'm pretty sure them glues aren't meant for competition. Like, all right, if there's anyone on the chat that's getting that done, let us know in the comments below. You can use a burner account. Let us know in the comments below if those hairstyles can withstand heavy amount of sweat. Like, you could work out in it because it's crazy. I would never do that. I would just be bald if that was the case. But brother, let's get to the real last question because this is the last one, guys. Royal Rumble took place over the weekend, brother, with Roman Reigns and Liv Morgan winning the women's and men's Royal Rumble match. Obviously, we just said right now, as of this recording, that looks like Roman Reigns is going to be challenging CM Punk for the world title. Brother, what's your thoughts on the winners and how did you feel about the show overall?
Well, the winners were my predictions, so I'm kind of happy that I got that right.
You were right.
And I was also happy that we saw who we wanted to see perform really well in this Rumbles and the people that we felt like were coming up. So that was Sol Ruka, that was Last Legend, that was Trick Williams, that was Obafemi. Obafemi, there we go. I keep saying Fema. But those people showed out. They had a great Rumble, and I already saw the tweets. I saw people saying Sol Ruka needs to be called up right away. I already saw that, leading up to it, Trick Williams already was a star. His entrance coming out there just proved it in a crowd that is more known for the nostalgia. Yeah, a crowd that's known for nostalgia, because that is the problem with the Saudi crowds love their nostalgia. They love their 2010 wrestlers and maybe a little bit before that, but they love that run from there. So when the newer guys come out, like I say, Obafemi getting booed during the Rumble, you got guys like Trick Williams who come out and they're like cheering the hell and they're saying "whoop that trick," and you see the star. You see the potential. I am not the biggest fan of the Saudi crowd that was dead during which match was it? It was the Drew versus Sammy. That was a dead crowd. For a guy who was wrestling in front of his home crowd, I wasn't the biggest fan of that. The Rumble felt very rushed, very I was annoyed at certain points with just like the Brock and Oba like face off, and then guess what? Another guy's coming out, and then you have Jey Uso coming out and yeeting, and you have Cody and LA Knight eliminate Brock Lesnar while they're yeeting. Like these are things that are just like it was just poorly planned, and for somebody who knows the business, somebody who calls the shots, Triple H, you should be back there and be like, you know what? This is the spot that we know we're going to do that. We want cameras on Brock Lesnar the whole time. You don't do it like that.
Say this is the best Royal Rumble.
Yeah, but what else is going to say? What are your thoughts, brother?
Look, man, I agree with most of you said. It was nice to see, like we said, them showcase the younger talent. Obafemi, Sol Ruka, she dominated, man. She's a star. But I got a nitpick, like you said. I think the Jey Uso thing. Like I said, man, WWE knows how to kill something organic. They know how to run it to the ground. When it comes to, like I said last episode, the tunnel entrances when they're coming in. They know how to ruin that. Now they ruined they're ruining it. Like they're ruining it. That became organic because the crowd couldn't stop eating. And then Jey Uso was like, "Yo, we're gonna run it back." And now it's like, "All right, let's just do it all the time." You know what I mean? And then you do it, and this is where I think this would have never happened under Vince and a Vince production, or Kevin Dunn production, where bro, you missed the spot where Brock Lesnar gets eliminated. Like that I don't want to throw shade. That's very AEW like. With AEW, sometimes their production misses like
the camera guys are not ready.
Yeah, the camera guys are not set. Like, so you know what I mean? And that was big. And then I would say I like the interactions between Oba and Brock. It did seem like one was a little confused. Like, all right, do we look at each other? I think it was more Oba, but still, I should have thought Oba should have been the one to eliminate Brock. I didn't like that Brock eliminated Oba.
Can I nitpick some more?
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't like that Oba eliminated guys and left himself in the ring by himself. I think that the way they should have booked it was, I don't care if he was number one. What I feel like they should have done is have him have a few bodies in the ring and start doing it like and just start tossing guys out. The fact that he was there waiting in the ring and that's what kind of got the crowd out of it. They were starting to boo him. Was the fact that he was just there, and it was kind of boring just to see the next guy come in and the next guy come out. I fell asleep during the team number, so I think after 15, I think I had a quick snore, and my wife had to wake me up during the Rumble. There was one more nitpick that I had about this, and it was
it was uneventful as far as the teams because you had a couple of the AAA wrestlers coming in and
yeah, La Parca and Mr. Iguana.
I didn't like Gunther
here's my
coming
question.
Out at 30. I didn't like Gunther at 30. That was so underwhelming.
I didn't think Gunther was needed for that match.
I agree.
I have a question for you before we move on. I know this is a quick hit, but this is more so the Yeet thing, right? Like running it back and, stopping everything. We get it. We've seen this before where his dad was, they had a whole dance thing going off.
Yeah, somebody tried to compare that. Yeah.
But my question to you is, if the crowd is into it, is WWE at fault for doing it? Because yes, we as the viewers, the people who are watching at home, we're annoyed with it, right? But the crowd clearly, it's not like it's like, a few people in the section doing it. The whole stadium's doing it. So my question to you is like, is WWE at fault for doing that when they get that reaction in person?
No, they're not, because obviously it's a sign that it's working. I just think that if you were going to do that spot, either you bring in Jey Uso when there's lesser guys in the ring, or, you know what I mean? You don't do it where the ring is filled with some of the biggest stars. And then it takes them a whole entrance 90 seconds to get in the ring. You know what I mean?
I think they could have had him last. If they would have had him last and do that, and just leave the guys in there, no eliminations going on during that time, that could have worked. But the fact is, like you said, by the time he came out, the next entrance was out.
If you're going to make it a thing, the only thing I would have enjoyed, but then it would have kind of made them look stupid, but they kind of did it already. Where, okay, if you're going to have them do that, have everyone in the Rumble play along with him and not just Roman. And then they could do what Roman did was when he's getting ready to play the music, then they all hit him or whatever.
Yep.
He could have did something like that.
I like that.
But by doing that, you took away from Brock Lesnar, and I'm going to be honest, the money you paying this guy, you flew him to Saudi Arabia to do a couple suplexes, and then it was a meaningless elimination. Served no point. Got no one over. That's why I go back to Oba should have been one. I'll say this. I kind of disagree with you on the Oba thing. I think I like that level of dominance in the Rumble where he's just taking out everybody. You coming in, bah. But that only works then if the next guy is a big dude like a Brock or like some. And that
it was Damian Priest. It was Damian Priest.
It was Damian Priest, and I felt like, okay, maybe this was last year, I would have said okay, but the way Damian Priest has been booked more like a mid-card guy as of late. So I don't think it had that same effect that it would have had it been last year. But yeah. And then honestly, it sucked a little bit that I was one of those that thought maybe Jericho might have came back.
The surprises sucked in this WrestleMania, and the Brie Bella was whoever you
She
are,
got a
maybe
big
you
pop,
liked
though.
it.
She got a
She
nice
got a big
pop,
pop, but
though.
this the nostalgia crowd that I'm referring to.
Yeah.
As far as surprises go, this is what the Rumble's known for. The Rumble is known for bringing out the person that you least suspect from another organization. And yes, we know AAA has a deal with WWE, and that's why they came out. But come on, you guys have TNA. You guys work with them all the time. I guess that partnership's done because we already
Honestly, I
said
would have I would have been at least I would have had TNA guys that people are familiar with. Then the AAA guys, I would have brought out Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy. I would have brought out guys that at least that are contracted by TNA, but they are familiar to the WWE audience. And as you touched on, the Saudi Arabia fan base, right? They're very nostalgic. You could tell because Powerhouse Hobbs, although his debut was pretty uneventful. You know what I mean? Didn't really have a reaction. Seemed like I think that's why they did the Powerhouse Hobbs so people could kind of know who he is, and then they changed the graphic to the Royce Keys, but he didn't get as well of as an ovation or a reaction as opposed he would have got maybe if it was done in the States.
they should
So
have waited for
maybe
a Raw.
they should have waited either for tonight. Philly, wild wrestling fan base. Obviously, that they watch all wrestling. That would have been a great debut for him.
Yep.
But brother, we cannot wrap up an episode without sharing the highlight of the week.
He's on fire!
All right, y'all. Highlight of the week is going out to a player from the Mile High as Denver guard Peyton Watson puts Chet Holmgren, newly All-Star, Chet Holmgren in a poster, bodied him. Straight bodied him. And he jammed it on his face. You know who loved this dunk more than Peyton Watson, brother? Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama. Because we all know Victor Wembanyama has all the smoke for Chet Holmgren. And this was an emphatic slam moment. But you know what? I will say this. Shout out to Chet Holmgren because you got a lot of these centers that are afraid to go up because they don't want to get baptized. But he got baptized.
Yeah, shout out to Peyton Watson. Amazing dunk. You didn't get the reaction from certain announcers like maybe a Reggie Miller does with LeBron.
Oh boy! Oh,
but
boy. Shout out
you get that from us.
Shout out to that Knick fan though, man. He was like, "Bro, look at this guy.
Whose man's is this?
Whose man's is this?" Yeah, what I'm telling you, they would look up. They did a search, man. They tell you, man, like Twitter, bro. Twitter will find you, brother. They found that man, and rightfully so. He got interviewed. Got kudos to him. But they found him, bro. They play no games. The internet, but yeah, he didn't get the Reggie Miller reaction, but he deserved it though. That was an emphatic slam. Yeah, but guys, you know what you got to do. Let us know what you think in the comments below. We covered so much in this episode. We got the Super Bowl. We picked out who do we think have the advantages in every position. Who do we think is going to win? Let us know in the comments below. Who are you rocking with? Are you rocking with the Patriots? If you are, put an NE in the chat. If you're rocking with the Seahawks, put a SEA in the chat. Let us know that you're going for the Seahawks. And let us know what you guys think about the Knicks. Do you feel like the Knicks are back? As they said in Hangover, we are back! We are back! Are the Knicks back? And how confident are we feeling that the Knicks can make the right necessary moves at the deadline? Let us know what you think. Where's Giannis going? Is Giannis staying in Milwaukee? Is Giannis coming to New York, Miami? Let us know in the comments below. And also, guys, let us know in the comments below what you thought about Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble was a topic of discussion over the weekend. You heard our thoughts. So let us hear yours. Put it in the comments below. So, guys, you know what to do. You know what you got to do. Like this video, subscribe, but also follow us on our social media platforms. We are available on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Reddit, especially considering that tomorrow is the NBA trade deadline. And anything that happens to our New York Knicks, we'll post Brooklyn Nets. I don't think we're going to post Brooklyn Nets. But anything that's related to our New York Knicks, we got you covered. So tap in with your boys. And guys, enjoy your Super Bowl. Get fat. Don't worry about the gym. Worry about the gym the next day. Enjoy the Super Bowl. and we see you guys next week, but we'll deliver the fire.
Press play, turn it up, yeah, the tone stay polling. If it's New York sports, welcome to the ozone. Woo! Welcome to the ozone.